Okay. It's Are we recording now? Mayor, we record.
Good evening. My name is Mayor Mike Wickers, and this is the business meeting for the Cottonwood Heights City Council for November 1st, 2022. Thank you for coming. So I have not asked, but I'm going to ask our District 2 Council Member Scott Bracken to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening. I pledge allegiance to the flag and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Council Member Bracken. Item 3 on our agenda this evening is a citizen comment period. I've got a couple of comment cards, so I'm going to start with Jeff Chatwin. Come on up, Jeff.
Good. Yeah. One of the things that you just discussed in your work session is I guess you call it a hard stop and Racket Club Drive in the adjoining Apple Valley. I like to call it Apple Valley subdivision. One moment I stood up at my home computer was people not giving enough feedback, and a lot of my neighbors have given up coming here. And when the Planning Commission denied an applicant on residential or the apartments that are to be built in Canyon Center, it's quickly overturned. And the plan, it made our complete subdivision feel inadequate and unrepresented, I should say. To have a planning commission who I feel was doing a good job in denying expansion of a property that probably should never have been approved to begin with in the MU zoning. MU zoning, I had to look it up again today in Cottonwood Heights code. Talk specifically about maintaining the residential neighborhoods that could adjoin an MU zoned property or project. And I speak on behalf of a lot of people on Racket Club Drive, McIntosh, Pippin, who have expressed not just the snow days, which I filled everyone's emails full of photos the day one day in particular, nobody could leave their neighborhood. You could not leave. People were selling burritos out of coolers. It was like a carnival atmosphere because they closed the canyons. And that day brought a ton of comments from our neighborhood that we couldn't get out. In an emergency, police, fire, the safety and well-being was jeopardized. We feel that development and the 200+ residents, not units, is going to create a problem on an adjoining residential neighborhood. McCandless, developer, I shouldn't say names, had a beautiful rendering of a bermed road that went adjacent with the curve of Canyon Center Parkway, not the hard stop. It was beautiful. Sidewalk, 2 benches, bicycle, pedestrian, trees, nice grassy area. It's beautiful. And he was going to supply that as an option to keep our residential neighborhood. So I lived there 17 years. I watch what happens. I'm just trying to share that every time I come here. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it. The next comment card I have is for Nathaniel Smith. Coming up, Nathaniel.
Good evening, City Council members. My name is Nathaniel Smith and I'm a resident of Cottonwood Heights. I've spoken with you all individually, but would like to make a more formal presentation of my request to the City Council. My request is that the ordinance pertaining to the keeping of chickens be amended. At the beginning of 2021, my family purchased some chickens to raise after being granted permission from our landlord. Our desire was that our 4 young boys would understand where our food comes from and the work and care involved in the endeavor of food production. Our boys enjoy feeding them, ensuring they have water and cleaning their coop. But what they really enjoy is holding them, petting them, and collecting the eggs. They understand that the eggs we are getting from our chickens is directly related to the work they put into the care of the chickens, and the eggs taste all the better for it. We enjoy sharing our abundance of eggs with our neighbors as a way to bless them and to teach our boys generosity. At the beginning of August 2022, we had some chickens get into a neighbor's yard as they were grazing on the bugs in our yard. That triggered a visit from Officer Sal from Cottonwood Heights Animal Control. It was at this point that we were made aware that we needed a permit in order to maintain chickens. I've been in ongoing conversations with the animal control officer as well as my city council representative, Doug Peterson, about how to resolve the matter. On 10/25, I was given an official citation during a site visit with Officer Sal. It was at this point that we identified a spot on the property that would meet all the requirements laid out in the ordinance. I was told I needed to speak with someone at Cottonwood Heights to start the permit application process. I called the next day and was told I needed to speak to Terry, who was not working that day. I went to the city hall the next day to speak with Terry, who informed me that in fact, Officer Sal was the one who had the permit applications and he would need to meet with me to start the process. I was confused as I was told something different by the officer, so I walked over to the police department to speak with him. He informed me that he was wrong the day he met with me and that it didn't meet the requirements because I live in a duplex as opposed to a detached single-family dwelling, and that even though I met all aspects of the ordinance that pertain to health and safety, I would not be issued a permit because of my house type. This brings me to my request. I would like the city council to amend the language in the ordinance to remove the single-family detached requirement. I believe that some of the council that I spoke with may be hesitant to make that change because of a lack of clarity on my part. I am not requesting a change to any of the spacing requirements. As it stands, the ordinance says that the coop, quote, shall be located at least 40 feet from all dwellings on all adjoining properties and at least 3 feet from the property line. The area I identified to Officer Sal meets those requirements and all others laid out in the ordinance. Further, it has been pointed out that my situation is fairly unique in that I live in a duplex, but could still meet all the distance requirements. While considering this, I realized that both sides of the duplex across the street from mine could also meet these requirements. This led me to wonder how many more families might be barred from owning chickens because of the language in the ordinance. It seems to me that the result of the language that denies me a permit is discriminatory and classist. This may seem like an inflammatory statement, but I can't see any other way to describe it. I don't currently have the means to own a single-family detached home in these times of inflation and high-cost housing. I understand that it is difficult to write a code or ordinance that would perfectly carry out the intent in all circumstances, which is why a mechanism for a variance may be an alternative solution to this matter. Please understand that I'm not looking for any special treatment for my personal situation. Rather, I am looking to right a wrong that I've discovered in the code and give others the freedom to raise and enjoy chickens as my family has for the last 1.5 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Nathaniel. Appreciate your comments, and staff will be in touch with you this next week. So thank you. I didn't see anybody online, correct, raising a hand.
No, sir.
So at this point, I will close the citizen comment period. We have 4 action items for this evening, beginning with consideration 4.1, consideration of ordinance 388, approving an amendment to the 2022-2023 budget. We discussed the details of this matter in our work session earlier today. Are there any other questions or comments from the council?
I just appreciate Scott Jurgis's and Tim's work on getting these things up to speed.
I will second that comment.
I guess I can move to approve the ordinance as well.
I'll second that.
We have a motion to approve from Councilmember Bracken and a second from Councilmember Burrell. Final questions, comments? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. Councilmember Peterson,
Yes.
yes. Councilmember Bracken,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. Item 4.2 is consideration of resolution 2022-56. This is another item we discussed in our work session earlier. Any other questions or comments from the council on consideration of resolution 2022-56 approving the Mid-Valley Active Transportation Plan?
I would just comment that I'm really looking forward to seeing a regionalized plan such as described in the Mid-Valley Active Transportation Plan. And I look forward to seeing our other plans align and support that, as well as get neighborhood bypass routes that bring safe routes for residents to get throughout our city and to connect to the other arterials that take them regionally outside our city. So I favor really focusing on this plan going forward and bringing it to be something practical and viable as soon as possible.
Thank you, Councilmember Burrell. Okay, I will at this point entertain a motion to approve resolution 2022-56.
I move that we approve, Mayor.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion to approve from Councilmember Peterson and a second from Councilmember Burrell. Final questions, comments? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. Councilmember Bracken,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
Councilmember Peterson,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. Next on our agenda is consideration of resolution 2022-57 approving an appointment to the Arts Council. We also discussed this item earlier and the person's qualifications in our work session. Any other questions or comments from the council? Appointment to the Arts Council. No. At this point, I will entertain a motion to approve this.
I'll make that motion to approve resolution 2022-57, approving the appointment to the Arts Council.
A motion to
Now-
approve from Councilmember Newell and a second from Councilmember Bracken. Final questions, comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
Councilmember Peterson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bracken,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. Our last legislative item for the evening is a consideration of resolution 2022-58 approving an appointment to the Historic Committee. Another item that we discussed in our work session earlier. Any other comments or questions from the council on the appointment?
As the liaison to the Historic Committee, I will motion to approve resolution 2022-58 and welcome a new member to the Historic Committee.
I'll second that.
Great, thank you. We have a motion to approve from Councilmember Burrell and a second from Councilmember Newell. Final questions, comments? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
Councilmember Peterson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bracken,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. Okay, the last item on our agenda for this evening is just approval of the consent calendar, which were the minutes for our meetings on October 18th. All in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
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 Can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I'll make that motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second it.
We have a motion to approve from Councilmember Newell and a second from Councilmember.
Kind of run here vote first. Next donation.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. That concludes the items on our agenda this evening. So could I entertain a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the
Doug
motion.
would do it 'cause he's not-
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? We're adjourned.